Okay, it's math time, and we're about to start on fractions. So today we're going to talk about fractions. It is May 19th, Tuesday. We are on chapter 16, and we're going to be looking today at fractions, the introduction to fractions, and lesson 1. So your page numbers are 307 to page 310. Okay, so this is your first page of fractions. There's not a lot of information here, but we're just going to go over it. So first of all, we have vocabulary. Here are some vocabulary words you will learn in this chapter. Whole. I'm sure you guys knew what the whole was before. But we're going to talk about how you have all the parts. One whole is equal to 1, or the number 1. If you have something that's divided into 4 separate parts, and you have all 4 of them, you have what we call 4/4. And 4/4 is equal to 1 whole. Right here, it looks like they have a delicious chocolate bar with the strawberry on top. And there are 4 out of 4 parts that are all shaded. So 4/4 equals 1. Now right here they have a watermelon. Just a second. They have a watermelon that's cut in half. So what they have here is really 2 halves. And 2 halves is also equal to 1. Okay, equal parts. Parts of a whole that are the same size. So right here we still have our strawberry white chocolate bar that's split into 4 sections, but in this case 2 of the equal sections are shaded, or what they call 2 of the equal parts are shaded. So now you have 1, 2, 3, 4 all together, but only 2 parts are shaded. We would write that like this. So we have 1/2, or technically it would be 2 out of 4 parts are shaded, and we're going to find out that those are actually equal because 1/2 and 2/4 are what we call equivalent fractions. Okay, fraction, anytime you have the word fraction, what that means is part of a whole. Unit fraction. This is actually a very important term. A unit fraction is any time the top number is 1. So like in this one right here it says 1/2. That's called a unit fraction because there's only 1 unit on top. So they have an example right here of 1/2. They also have 1/3 and they have 1/4. All of these are called unit fractions. That's because that's what they're called. Okay, we're going to check out what you already know. Page 308. Write how many parts are shaded. And if you notice, at first when I looked at this, I was like, oh, this is a delicious sandwich, but that's on pumpernickel, and this is on regular bread. But that's not true. These are this is a shaded part, and these 2 are not shaded. So we're going to say one of the parts is shaded, and there are 3 parts altogether. When we write that as a fraction, it looks like this. 1 out of 3, or we say it 1/3. 1/3 is shaded. Right here, this looks like, what do you think? Is that a lemon pie?
It's like a lemon.
Lemon meringue pie. That's one of my. Oh, it's a
I don't
lemon.
know. It's a lemon, I think.
Like the fruit.
Maybe.
Yeah, because.
But I don't know. It's got a green outside. That's all I can
That's
say.
it's an enigma. Okay, so the number of parts that are shaded
Kinda hard
are
to see.
3 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe? Does that look
6,
right
7,
to
8.
you?
Yep, I think there's 8 parts.
Okay, so 3 of the parts are shaded right here, but there's 8 altogether. Wow, they didn't draw that very well. But we would call that 3/8. For right now, because we're doing the what do you know, you don't have to worry about that. Right here it says, write how many parts there are in all. So I'm going to skip count by 2. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So there are 10 parts in all. And then color 5 parts. 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's 10 parts in all? Or should I write 5/10?
We'll write 5/10.
I think that would be
or
good.
put 1/2.
Right. Okay, so this is the what do you already know page. So this is just kind of reviewing what you probably talked about in first grade. Okay, next page. This is where it gets a little more detailed. So now you're on page 309. We have halves and fourths. Fractions. Divide a whole into equal parts. Remember, equal parts when we talked about the introduction with the vocabulary. Equal parts. Oh, that's right. We can divide that. Remember, I also have our pizza, our spinach pizza, but I like this. I don't have writing. Oh, this is excellent. So there we have one piece of paper, but if I fold it, or Mrs. Lopez was very kind and she folded it for me, and so now you see 2 halves. So 1 whole, 2 halves.
And you could fold it again.
You could, kind of like our pizza model, but I like the fact that they have this already done for you. What does that look like? Crackers, maybe?
Crackers. Looks like a piece of paper.
Oh, yes, it
They went-
definitely does.
They went
Look
and
like
then they did it again.
A piece of paper. So this is going to be our fourths. And then the other 2.
Fold it again.
Okay. So, start with the piece of paper. This is a whole. Oh, excellent. Fold the paper over. Now you have half. The part is folded into 2 equal parts. Each one part is called 1/2. Write the fraction this way. 1, and then you have the fraction bar, and then you have a 2. So I'm going to write it a little bit bigger just so we can all agree what it looks like. Now the way that we say that is 1/2. So this is how you would spell that bottom part. Okay, and then here. We have our piece of paper folded into fourths. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 parts. And that's on the board right there. It says take your half and you fold it over again. The paper is folded into 4 equal parts. Each equal part is called 1/4. So you notice on most or almost all of our fractions, you're going to have the number, F-O-U-R, and then you have to write T-H. Sometimes if we had a fraction like that, we would call that 3/4, and then we would have to, if we were to write it, it would be the word 4 and then T-H-S, because it's more than 1/4. It's more than a unit fraction. Okay.
Did you explain what the top number's called and what the bottom number's called yet?
That's not it. We don't do denominator.
Well, we can still tell them, right?
I would love to tell them,
Okay.
because
I
otherwise
thought
it feels like a
You're
secret.
referring to it anyway.
I know. Okay, so when you're in 3rd grade, they're going to want you to know this for sure.
But we want you to know in second too.
We do. So this, I often like to say, it's not the old numerator, it's the numerator. numerator. And then this, of course, is the division line. And what I used to like to say is the other number is down under. D for down under, because it's down under the other one. So it starts with a D. Because I often got those mixed up. Like, which is the numerator, which is the denominator. So denominator. The other way that I remembered that the numerator was on top, you guys should remember from when we studied about this. Remember, this is a compass star, and north is always pointing up, and north, N for north, N for numerator. N is on top. So when you get into third grade and at the end of second grade, we definitely expect you to know these words. Remember a while back I told you some words in math are important and some are not important? Those are super important. You're going to need to know because your teacher is going to refer to this a lot, especially third and fourth grade. They're going to expect that you know that the numerator is on top and denominators on the bottom. So you might want to practice that. Okay, next one. Here we go. Draw to show how many equal parts, then fill in one part and write the fraction. Now I really like the fact that they've done one for you. It says 2 equal parts and then they shaded half of it. And then they wrote the fraction 1 over 2, or 1/2, with the numerator being 1 and the denominator 2. One of the things we used to have problems with in 5th grade, 4 equal parts, and you're only going to shade one part, and students used to love to do this. And Miss East was like, no, don't do that. You got to write 1/4. Just like they did there for you, because otherwise it gets kind of sloppy. And you'll also notice that when I split it, these sections aren't exactly the same. That's okay. We know that I meant they were the same. So I'm going to shade in one section, and that's 1/4. I just wanted to give you guys the example that it doesn't have to be perfect. We know what you're talking about, okay? But do write the fraction on the line. Don't use the line. 4 equal parts, doesn't it seem like 3 and 4 are the same?
They are, but you could have to do it a different way. So go from one corner to the other corner, and then the other corner to the other corner.
You could do, or I could do this. This would be really mean if I went like
That's
that.
a little bit harder.
I can make it like zebra stripes.
You have
And
enough on
then-
there?
There we go.
There you go.
And so that's also 1/4. So the good thing is that we do know you can make fourths lots of different ways, and it's still going to be 1/4. And then 1/2, I'm not going to even break that up at all, because that's 1/2. So I'm just going to color the whole thing, because that's 1/2. The other way you can write 1/2 is you can write it 1/1. We saw that on the very first page when we got the introduction. In fact, you could write 100/100. You could write 1,000/1,000. It's still 1. Okay, so now we're going to color in the fraction strip. If I can get that word out. Color in the fraction strip to show the fraction, and we're going to do 1/2. So I noticed this fraction strip is divided into 2 parts, so I'm coloring one of them. Notice that's all I have to do. So this lesson, it's not super complicated. Then it says 1/4. Remember, these are called unit fractions because both of these have a 1 on the top. So 1/2 is like that. 1/4 means I'm just going to color in 1. And you can color in whichever one you want. It really doesn't matter. You just can't color in more than 1. Okay, so this one is 1/4. Draw lines to show 4 equal parts. Color in one part and then write the fraction. So I'm going to use that line up above to say that's where half would be. And then I'm going to split this side in half, and I'm going to split this side in half. So I have, and once again, this part's smaller than that part.
It's okay.
But you know
It's
what?
still 4 parts.
It's still 4 parts, and we know that I want them to be equal. So that's the whole point. And it's the unit fraction 1/4. Okay, that's page 310, and I think your lesson isn't quite over for today. So you see this guy has a half of a piece of birthday cake. So that's nice. He's happy, and he has some candles on it. And you're going to do IXL today. And when you do IXL, which don't forget, we can always tell who's doing it and who's not. I got a certificate today for everybody that did it last week. Good job. W.4 and W.5 math, and those should be fractions. So that's it for math today. Enjoy fractions.